Welcome back, learners and facilitators, and we are still talking about project. And today in this video, we are going to talk about competency 3, and competency 3 is project reporting. If you missed my previous video, it was about competency 1, which is project planning. That is where we talked about identifying the problem itself, and we went ahead to come up with a problem statement. We also talked about the title then, and we talked about the theme, we talked about the purpose, the objectives, and also resources. Having said that, let's go to competency 3, and that is the project reporting. Now first I will start with the checklist, and under observation checklist, the first thing is use appropriate report format. And I will show you the format when I start to give the sample. The learner uses appropriate format to generate a project report that contains 1. The title, 2. The introduction, 3. The body, and 4. Conclusion. The introduction for the project report here, it means there is the name of the project, the objective, and then the purpose of the project. Whereas the body, it will contain the project activity carried out, the achievements, the resources mobilized and used, the challenges faced while carrying out the project, how the challenges were solved, lesson and skills learned while carrying out the project. And then under conclusion, the learner is expected to have an overall evaluation of the project, also expected to have recommendations related to the project. Also under the project reporting, the learner uses appropriate language in the project. And finally, under reporting, the learner is expected to have also the following kept in store: the project plan that was submitted in competency 1, the budget, activity plan, stakeholders engagement document, like if we got some letters, attendance list, and etc. Also the facilitator learner interaction record, and finally the project report. Now let's go into the details of the project report. So here is the format for the project report. Here, a project submitted to UNEB as partial fulfillment to attain UCE. Now this is the cover page. So also we shall have a declaration page, and then we have approval page, and then you have the table of content and the project report. And now we begin chapter 1. The first thing under chapter 1 is the project title, and you have the project title here. I'll not go so much into details about this because I spoke about this in details in the previous video. Briefly about the title here is supposed to be in line with the theme, and the theme is embracing creativity. If you look at this, we are using plastic waste material, so that means there is creativity there. Problem statement, we have justification, which is chapter 2. So under justification is where we have the main aim, which is the same as the purpose. And then after that, you go to objective. Now briefly about the objective, what major 3 activities or strategies must you do to achieve as a sign that will lead to fulfillment of your purpose? So in other words, objective is a breakdown of your purpose. For example, the first objective here is to collect and prepare plastic waste materials within 2 days. The objective is supposed to be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. And if you look at this objective, to collect and prepare plastic waste material, first it is specific. What are we doing? Collecting plastic waste material. You can also measure after 2 weeks whether you have done it, and it is achievable, realistic, and time bound within 2 weeks. The next thing under chapter 2 is scope of the project, and under scope, the first thing to look for is geographical scope. That is, describe the location where the project is going to be conducted. According to this project, the project was conducted. Now remember, when you're writing the report, it is in past tense, what you have already carried out. The project was conducted within the school environment, specifically around the school farm. Scope of the consumers. Now here you describe the age, the gender, the type of customers your product will serve. Basing on this project, the target is the learners, the farmers, the visitors, and school administration of different age group and both gender. Chapter 3, we have planning. Now under planning, the first thing here is project action plan. So here you write the activities you carried out, the starting date, the ending date, and the number of days. For instance, project identification. When did you start it? When did you end it? And then how long did you take? The other one is planning for the project. When did you start it? When did you end it? And how many days were those? Project implementation, the same case. So you have all this put there. Then still under chapter 3, you have tangible product. So under tangible product here, you state the tangible product that you're going to make physically, and you're not supposed to buy it. It should be a product that will help solve the problem that you identified. The first thing under the tangible product here is you're going to talk about the identification of material and the budget, which is for my project, it is plastic bottles, 200 of them. That is the quantity, and the quality is probably nylon. There is no price because it is supposed to be picked from the environment. If you pick something like nails, you need 4 kg. The quality is galvanized. Then you put the price for per each, and then the amount here, and all that you require. I'm skipping this because I talked about it in the previous video. And then when you come to the product sketch or plan, here you think and draw a design or print of how your product will look. But here, while you're drawing, you need to use a pencil. That now leads us to chapter 4, methodology. The first thing under methodology is a research on how to make the product. So you can either use Google, or internet. You can either use a book or ask somebody who has the skill. As long as you have researched, you have got the information from a reliable source, and then you write your findings here. So here research was conducted using textbook, internet sources, and consultation with technology and design teacher. Findings show that effective prototype gate requires strong supporting materials or strong supporting structure, accurate measurements, weather-resistant materials, simple locking system. Still under chapter 4, we are having methodology or making your product. Here you're supposed to explain in details the step-by-step procedure of how you'll make the product. You also explain how you'll make your product unique or different from the ones you researched about. This will show that how you express creativity, which are the skills which are required, the critical thinking and innovation. If I'm to give you a sample, here is how it goes. Step 1, collected plastic materials from the school. Step 2, cleaned and sorted materials. Step 3, measured dimensions. Step 4, constructed wooden frames. Step 5, attached plastic bottles. Step 6, installed locking sections. Step 7, painted and finished. And then you can talk about the innovation here. Unlike ordinary wooden gates, this prototype integrated recycled plastic for environmental conservation and reduced costs. That brings us to chapter 5, product implementation. Under chapter 5, we start with evidence for the procedure or the process. Evidence here, they require you to attach photos, and this photo is supposed to capture your face and also what you're doing to show how you are making the product. And here you put the photo step by step as evidence that you indeed made this product, and not that somebody made it or you bought it. So you can attach the following photos. One is problem identification. When you're moving probably around the farm or talking with the farm manager, you can have one photo there. Also, while collecting plastic bottles, the materials you needed, one photo. While constructing, you need a photo. While testing, a photo. Final prototype, a photo. Now remember, each photo should show the learner participating. Very important. Then under chapter 5, the second thing, have the mechanism of how the product works to solve the problem. Here you're supposed to explain in details how your product will work to solve the problem that you identified. The prototype gate regulates movement by creating a control entry point. Remember, my problem was There is no gate, and so there is no control movement or accessibility of the farm. So the prototype gate regulates movement by creating a control entry point. The wooden frame provides support. Plastic bottle panels reduce costs and improve environmental sustainability. The locking system limits unauthorized access. Then the third thing under chapter 5 is prototype or product testing. So here you're supposed to explain how you will experiment to see if your product will work to solve the problem stated. So the steps which I have according to this project, one is opening and closing repeatedly, that is opening and closing the gate. Also check durability, observing resistance to rain, collecting feedback from users, and the result were below. Movement control improved, the gate remained stable. Users reported improved accessibility control. So here you state the challenges you faced during the project implementation phase. Also explain how you solved those challenges. So below are my challenges and how I solved them, or the solutions. One was limited materials from within the school environment. Remember, you're collecting 200 plastic bottles, and so they may not all be around the school environment. So how did I solve that problem? Collect additional material from outside the school environment. The second challenge was weak frame. What did I do? The solution was added reinforcement. The other challenge was time constraint. So the solution was create a schedule, but also sometimes go beyond the normal schedule. So those were the problems or the challenges faced, and even the solutions. The final chapter should have project evaluation. Under evaluation, we start with effectiveness and efficiency. So effectiveness here, it means did the project and the product that you make solve the problem you identify? If yes, you provide here the proof. And according to me, according to this project, the product solved the identified problem by reducing unauthorized movement and increasing farm security. Evidence included improved control and positive user feedback. Then efficiency, if you look at your budget, does the money, time and effort you put into conducting this product match the quality? According to this project, the project used low-cost materials. Most materials were recycled. Time and effort invested matched the quality of the product. And then finally we have conclusion and recommendation. Now for conclusion and recommendation, this is what is expected. According to you, what conclusion can you make about your project? Also suggest any recommendation you can give to people concerning the problem you identify based on the findings that you discovered during the process of conducting your project. So my conclusion was, the project demonstrated that locally available materials can be transformed into practical solutions that support sustainable development. The prototype gate improved accessibility control and promoted environmental conservation. And then my recommendation was, future projects should improve durability and appearance. Communities should reuse waste products. Also, schools should encourage project-based learning. And my final recommendation is, learners should document all project stages for reporting and dissemination. So for this video, this is where I'll end. Let me know anything you may need in the comment section.